Hello and welcome to the Public Global, a new initiative from the Public India. I am Ajay Prakash. It looks like that real trouble has begun for Gautam Adani this time around. After the US court's verdict a few days ago, many agencies around the world and in several countries have started probing his business deals within their country. Because of the US court order, it is well known that Adani will no longer be able to get credit in the international market, and that's a huge setback for the Adani Group. Bangladesh has set up a panel to review the power pacts within their country, including the Adani Group agreements. And surprisingly, the US agency is going to conduct a due diligence on Adani's Sri Lankan projects. According to a report filed by Bloomberg and published in the Economic Times today, the US International Development Finance Corporation, which had earlier agreed to lend $500 million dollars to the Adani Group for developing a port in Sri Lanka, has said that they have never reached a final agreement and they are now going to probe the bribery charges as well in Sri Lanka. And then it was the Kenyan President William Ruto who acted with extreme haste, and within one day of the US order, he cancelled two big deals with the Adani Group. The first one was the $2 billion deal with the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Ministry of Transport, and the other was an $800 million deal with Kenyan Energy Transmission Company. In today's episode, I'm not going to talk about the Adani case. Already, so much has been said about that case, and it's all over the media, including the social media. But today, I'm going to talk about one thing which not many people will like to discuss. I wish to introduce these two gentlemen to all of you. Maybe you might have recognized one or both of them. The one on the left is Ravi Nair, a well known journalist from India, and on the right is Nelson Amenya, a journalist from Kenya. So, what's common between both of them? Well, both of them have investigated Adani. It's their sheer grit, determination, and courage which have led them to break these amazing stories about all the wrongdoings of the Adani Group. Ravi Nair was among the first journalists and probably the only one who went deep into the Rafale deal scandal. He later wrote a book called The Flying Lies along with Prananjoy Guha Thakurta. This book is an amazing story of investigative journalism. It's available on Amazon, and if you want, you can buy it from there. Ravi Nair did not stop after investigating the Rafael deal. He continued investigating Adani and went deep into the Hindenburg report, and he has been continuously writing on Adani on various news forums and newspapers and social media channels like the News Minute and The Wire. Nelson Amenya is a young Kenyan journalist currently doing his master's in business administration in France, and he has been investigating Adani for quite some time, that is, Adani's deals within Kenya. And he writes regularly for the Star Kenya. When young journalists such as Ravi Nair and Nelson Amenya decide to take on the all and mighty people like the Adanis, it is not without a personal risk to them. In their own words, both of them have said that sometime or the other they have been threatened. After a series of exposes by Ravi Nair of the Adani Group in 2022, the Adani Group filed a defamation case against Ravi. In July 2022, Nair was served with an arrest warrant by the Delhi police on behalf of the Gujarat police. Even though Nair says he never received the notice and neither the case went to the court, he was given an arrest warrant. I believe he is currently still on bail and has to appear in Gandhinagar periodically, which is about 900 kilometers from his home base of Delhi. Back in 2021, Paranjoy Guha Thakur, the co-author of Flying Lies with Ravi Nair, had to face a similar situation of arrest. In 2021, a court in Kutch, Gujarat issued an arrest warrant against Thakurta in a defamation suit filed by the Adani Group. Now, this case dates back to 2017 when Prananjay Guha had written in the Economic and Political Weekly about how Narendra Modi's government was tweaking the rules of the special economic zone, which led to the Adani Group reaping a benefit of 500 crores. The arrest warrant was later suspended by the Gujarat High Court. Now I'll show you a small clip of Nelson Amenya. In an interview with the Big Picture Kenya, Nelson Amenya was asked several questions on the Adani deals within Kenya. This is a long interview, and I will leave the link in the description where I suggest you watch this interview. Right in the beginning, when the interviewer asked Amenya, "Are you willing to come back to Kenya?" Because, as I told you, he's currently in France. Amenya replied, "After this, I don't know how I am going to come back because my life is at risk when I come back. Are you in hiding or is it open where you are? Because I'm in hiding, I cannot say a lot of things. Obviously, I can't speak of this publicly, but I'm making plans to visit." Nelson Amenya is celebrated as a hero for exposing the secret Adani deal for Kenya's Jomo Kenyatta Airport. Kenya cancelled the 2 billion airport deal with the Adani Group after whistleblower Nelson Amenya exposed secretive negotiations and lack of competitive bidding. The US fraud indictment against Adani chairman supported Amenya's claims. Let me take you through the timelines of the Kenya airport deal and what did Nelson Amenya find out. On March 1st this year, Adani submits a proposal to take over operations of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. So, what's wrong with this? Well, Nelson Amenya found out that many rules were bent to favor the Adani Group. Firstly, the normal method of competitive bidding was done away with. And then public-private partnership which is permitted as per Kenyan law, was also dispensed with. And instead, a privately initiated proposal called PIP was permitted. That means there was only one proposal which was accepted, and that was from the Adani Group. Competitive bidding was not allowed because it's a well known fact that many Chinese companies are operating in that region. The airport in Ethiopia at Addis Ababa is run by the Chinese. And so there are many investments within Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, in fact, whole of East Africa. So had competitive bidding been permitted, I'm sure Adani would never have been able to stand against the Chinese. With utmost haste, the government approved the Adani proposal in June 2024 despite growing opposition within the public. In July 2024, Nelson Amenya exposed the deal. Key details of this agreement were leaked out into the press. And again in July, that same month, public protests against the deal increased. The people came out onto the streets. In August 2024, Kenya Aviation Workers Union, who operate the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, issued a strike notice. There was a growing fear among the workers that if Adani is allowed to get hold of the airport, the workers would be sacked and may be asked to rejoin at terms which may not be favorable to them. As the protests by the public increased, and there was always a threat by the aviation workers to go on strike, it was time for President William Ruto to intervene. On 26 August 2024, he held a 5 hour long meeting with the workers' union. But he did not stop the proposal. Then on September 11th, the entire JKIA operations came to a standstill as all the workers went on a 1 day strike. President Ruto was probably looking for an opportunity to come out of these engagements. And that opportunity he got on November 21st. As the US government indicted Adani, he cancelled both these proposals, the one for the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company and the other one for the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Adani lost on both counts. While cancelling these two proposals, President Ruto stated in his State of the Nation address, I have directed agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to immediately cancel the ongoing procurement, attributing the decision to new information provided by investigative agencies and partner nations. President William Ruto made a direct reference to the US court's notice on Adani. And with that, the doors of Kenya will remain shut for Adani till his name, if ever, gets cleared. Sunday's Business Standard carried a rebuttal from the Adani Group in which they said they never entered into an agreement to operate the airport in Kenya. Well, in a way, that is true. The airport deal was never signed. However, had the indictment in US not happened, I am sure that within the next few days, this deal was on the table, ready to be signed by Adani. And the reason for this is very clear. If Adani's method to acquire business is by bribing government officials, then that method will not be restricted only to India. And all of us who know East Africa are well aware of these facts. It was during the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's regime during which Adani had pushed all these deals. Odinga was in office till February 2023, and he's a big supporter of the Adani Group. Even as late as yesterday, he has made a comment that the deals should have gone through, it would have benefited the country. Last month, speaking in Mombasa, Odinga said that the country is in dire need of infrastructure upgrade with no resources from the exchequer, leaving the PPPs, that is public private partnerships, as the only option. And before I wind up today's episode, I want to show you one more clip of former Prime Minister Odinga. Now, when people say there's a nexus between Modi and Adani, and Modi keeps promoting Adani's business, it may not be too far from the truth. This clip shows that Modi was in touch with the prime ministers of various countries, well, in this case, Kenya, much before he became the prime minister, the time when he was the chief minister of Gujarat. Whenever I'm showing you a video clip, I'm redoing the audio. The reason is copyright issues. The original clip can always be seen in the reference I have given. When I was the Prime Minister of Kenya, I was introduced to the company and its activities by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he was the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat. Indeed, Prime Minister Modi arranged for a Kenya government mission to visit Gujarat, and I had the opportunity. This company's infrastructure projects in the state of Gujarat, that port, a power plant, a railway line, and an airstrip, developed out of a swamp that was donated by the government of India. I'm talking about the Adani Group of companies. So, whenever a journalist breaks a story against the mighty, powerful people, just spare a moment and think about him or her. They risk their lives to bring you all these stories and at times even stop these mighty people from doing what they wanted to do. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. and like it if you like this episode. Thank you once again.